Have you noticed how you can believe you're worthy in your heart and still feel your body tense the moment money, success, or receiving comes close? Like something inside you reaches for support and something else pulls back at the exact same time, and you're left standing in that strange place between wanting and bracing. If that's you, you are not imagining it, and you are not broken. Your system is responding the way it learned to respond, and there's a tenderness in that worth honoring. Take a breath that doesn't force anything, and notice what your shoulders do when you hear the word prosperity. Some people feel a tightening in the chest. Some feel a small drop in the belly. Some feel a rush of urgency like, I have to figure this out right now. Whatever you notice is information, not a verdict, and it can be held with kindness. Somewhere along the way, prosperity stopped feeling like support and started feeling like a test of whether you're doing enough, a test of whether you're good enough, a test of whether you're allowed to want more. And when money becomes a test, your worth becomes a performance, and that is exhausting. You may have learned to measure yourself by outcomes, by productivity, by approval, by how much you carry for everyone else. You may have learned that being needed is safer than being received, that giving is safer than asking, that working harder is safer than being visible. And if you've lived that way for years, it makes sense that receiving can feel like standing in bright light with nowhere to hide. You might even be someone who is generous and spiritually open, and still feel shame when you desire more comfort, more ease, more financial flow. As if wanting support means you're ungrateful. As if wanting more means you're taking from someone else. As if prosperity is reserved for other people, the ones who are more confident, more consistent, more together. And yet your heart already knows this. Wanting support is not a character flaw. It's a human need. It's a soul-level longing to be met by life. There's a quiet pain many people don't say out loud. You can do so much and still feel unseen by life. You can be capable, responsible, hardworking, and still feel like prosperity keeps slipping through your hands. Bills get paid, but the sense of safety doesn't arrive. A good month comes, and the nervous system stays on guard, waiting for the next drop. A new opportunity appears, and instead of excitement, you feel pressure, because now you have to prove you deserve it. If you've ever thought, why can't I relax even when things are okay? It's because the body remembers old conditions, old agreements, old stories that said, love comes when you earn it. Let that settle for a moment, because this is important to hear. The money pattern is rarely only about money. It's about the relationship you learn to have with yourself while trying to survive. What if the real issue has never been your ability to manifest, but your ability to receive without bracing? Receiving isn't only a mindset. Receiving is a nervous system experience. Receiving is the moment support arrives and your body decides whether it's safe to let it in. And if your body learned that receiving comes with cost, criticism, obligation, guilt, loss of freedom, loss of approval, then even good things can feel dangerous. Some people grew up with love that was conditional. Some grew up with money that was unstable. Some grew up with caregivers who were overwhelmed, so needing anything felt like being too much. Some grew up praised for being easy, helpful, strong, and they learned to trade their needs for belonging. And if that was your training, prosperity can trigger an old fear. If I have more, will people resent me? If I want more, am I selfish? If I receive, what will be expected of me? So you keep yourself in a familiar range, not too high, not too visible, not too demanding. You stay where you can manage. And then you wonder why life feels smaller than your spirit. Here's what matters. None of this means you're failing. It means you adapted, and now you're ready to update the agreement. Notice your breath again, and see if you can soften your jaw even 1 degree. That tiny softening is not small. It is a new message to the body. We are safe enough to change. There's a quiet pattern many tender, capable people live inside of. They overgive to feel safe, and then wonder why life feels withholding. They offer more than they can sustain. They discount themselves. They anticipate needs before anyone asks. They carry the emotional weight in rooms where no one notices the weight at all. And in the end, they feel drained and also guilty for feeling drained. If that's you, something in you recognizes this. You weren't born to prove your goodness through depletion. And yes, depletion can become a kind of currency. You may have learned that being tired is evidence you're valuable, that being indispensable is how you stay loved, that rest is lazy, that ease is suspicious, that joy should be delayed until everything is handled. And when you live like that, prosperity becomes another task on a never-ending list. But prosperity that's built on self-abandonment never feels like prosperity. It feels like pressure wearing a nicer outfit. You deserve a different experience. Your worth is not a wage. Your worth is not something you earn by suffering. Your worth is not a prize for perfect behavior. Your worth is inherent, and it has been there through every mistake, every detour, every season when you couldn't do what you wished you could do. Your worth is not a wage. Let that land, not in the mind, but in the body. Your worth is not a wage. Now, let's get specific, because generic comfort doesn't change a pattern. The pattern changes when you meet it in real time. Let's talk about the moment you undercharge, over-explain, or apologize for your needs, because that moment holds a doorway. Maybe it looks like this. You quote a price and immediately soften it, like you're trying to protect the other person from discomfort. Or you offer extra so they feel taken care of, and then feel resentful later because you weren't taken care of. Or you hesitate to ask for a raise because you don't want to be seen as difficult. Or you avoid looking at your bank account because you're tired of the emotional wave that comes with numbers. Or you earn well but spend quickly, almost like the body can't tolerate holding. Or you save intensely but still feel unsafe, like enough never becomes enough. Have you noticed how these behaviors aren't random? They are protective strategies. They are your nervous system trying to keep you safe in the only way it learned. If you've been undercharging, it may not be because you don't value your work. It may be because visibility feels risky. If you've been overworking, it may not be because you love hustle. It may be because rest brings up unprocessed feelings. If you've been avoiding money conversations, it may not be because you're irresponsible. It may be because shame has been sitting there like a guard at the door. And shame is heavy. Shame says, you're not doing it right. Shame says, other people have it figured out. Shame says, if you were truly worthy, you wouldn't struggle. Shame makes you hide, and hiding makes receiving harder, because receiving requires being seen. So let's offer your system a new option, not through force, but through safety. The next time you notice yourself shrinking around money, pause, not a dramatic pause, a small one, a breath, a hand over the heart if that feels kind. And silently, without arguing, offer this: receiving is safe now. Receiving is safe now, not because life is perfect, but because you are present. Because you can feel discomfort and still stay with yourself. Because you can set boundaries. Because you can say yes and no. Because you are no longer the child who had to earn love by disappearing. Let that be a practice, not a slogan. Receiving is safe now. And if that phrase brings up resistance, that's okay. Resistance. E is often grief in disguise. Grief for the years you tried so hard. Grief for the support you needed and didn't receive. Grief for the way you learned to survive. You can honor that grief without letting it run your future. Here's another doorway that changes everything: the difference between self-worth and self-esteem. Self-esteem often depends on performance, how well you did, how others responded, what you achieved. Self-esteem rises and falls, and it can be tender and fragile, especially in a culture that rewards output. Self-worth is deeper. Self-worth is the quiet knowing, I matter because I exist. Self-worth says, even when I'm learning, I'm worthy. Self-worth says, even when I rest, I'm worthy. Self-worth doesn't need an audience. When your prosperity is built on self-esteem, it becomes unstable. Because if a project fails, your identity collapses with it. If someone says no, your nervous system panics. If the market shifts, you feel personally rejected, and then you work harder to recover your sense of being enough. But when prosperity is built on self-worth, your foundation stays steady. You can adjust without shame. You can pivot without self-punishment. You can learn without calling yourself a failure. Notice how your body responds to that idea. Does something soften? Does something fear being disappointed? Both responses can be true. And now, here is the part most people skip, and it's the part that actually heals the relationship with prosperity. Boundaries. Not harsh boundaries, not walls. Boundaries that are like riverbanks. They don't stop the water, they guide it. Without banks, water becomes flood or drought. With banks, water flows. Many people with tenderness in their hearts fear boundaries because they confuse boundaries with rejection. But boundaries are an act of self-respect, and self-respect is one of the most magnetic frequencies on earth. When you say, "This is my rate," you are not asking permission to exist. You are naming a truth. When you say, "That doesn't work for me," you are not being unkind. You are being clear. When you stop explaining yourself, you are not being rude. You are trusting your own knowing, and your heart already knows this. Clarity creates safety. Safety creates receptivity. Receptivity allows prosperity to land. So here's a grounded practice you can carry into your day, something you can do in under a minute without needing the perfect mood. The next time money energy arises, a purchase, a bill, an invoice, a request, a price, notice the first sensation in your body. Name it quietly: tight, heavy, rushed, numb, fluttery, hot. Then breathe into the center of that sensation and offer one sentence: "I can stay with myself while this moves through." That's it. That one sentence interrupts the old pattern of abandonment, because what makes money painful isn't always the number. It's the moment you leave yourself. And if you're used to leaving yourself, coming back can feel unfamiliar at first. Coming back can feel raw. That's not failure. That's re-entry. That's healing. Now let's speak to the hidden belief that keeps so many people locked in cycles. If I receive, I will owe. Do you feel that one? Even a little? The subtle contract that says receiving comes with debt. Emotional debt, relational debt, obligation, loss of freedom. This belief is often born in early experiences where gifts were not clean, where help came with strings, where support came with guilt, where kindness was followed by a reminder of what you cost. And if that was your imprint, the nervous system learned to refuse support to avoid future pain. But prosperity that nourishes you is clean. It is not payment for your soul. It is not a trap. It is not a hook. You are allowed to receive it cleanly. You are allowed to be supported without being purchased. Now, can you feel how radical that is? Somewhere deep inside you've always known the need to earn love is not love. So we build a new imprint through micro-receiving, not grand gestures, not manifest a miracle. Micro-receiving is the daily re-education of the body. When someone offers help, practice saying, "Thank you," and letting your shoulders stay soft. When someone compliments you, practice letting it land without deflecting. When you find a parking spot easily, let yourself notice the support of life. When you have a good client call, let yourself savor it for 10 seconds instead of rushing to the next task. When money comes in, pause and let your body feel that it is here. These are small moments, and they change everything. Because your system is always listening for evidence. Evidence that support is real. evidence that ease is possible, evidence that you don't have to suffer to be safe. And here comes an open loop you may want to hold gently. There is a specific reason prosperity often increases after self-worth healing, and it's not magical thinking. It's the end of self-sabotage. We'll come back to that in a moment. And first, you deserve to see how self-sabotage actually works so you can stop blaming yourself. Self-sabotage often looks like procrastination, avoidance, overthinking, perfectionism, impulse spending, overgiving, staying in underpaid situations, or waiting to be chosen. And beneath those behaviors is usually one of two fears: fear of being seen or fear of losing love. If you were fully prosperous, fully supported, would you feel more visible? Would you feel more separate from certain people? Would you feel less needed? Would you fear outgrowing relationships that depend on you staying small? This is not a comfortable question, and it is a compassionate one, because many people unconsciously choose to struggle to preserve belonging. They keep themselves busy and stressed because it matches the family pattern. They avoid success because success might trigger envy or abandonment. They overfunction because being the responsible one kept them safe. They under-receive because receiving once meant danger. So when you judge yourself for your money pattern, you miss the deeper truth. You have been loyal to old belonging, loyal to old identities, loyal to the role you played to survive. And now you get to choose a new loyalty, loyal, tied to your life. Here's the piece that changes everything about prosperity and self-worth. Your relationship with money is often a relationship with power. If you were taught that power is dangerous, you will avoid it. If you were taught that power makes people cruel, you will reject it. If you were taught that powerful people aren't safe, you will unconsciously keep yourself in powerless positions so you can feel morally clean. But power does not have to be harsh. Power can be gentle. Power can be clean. Power can be the ability to be with yourself, to make choices, to say yes and no, to hold your needs with dignity. Your power is not domination. Your power is presence. And prosperity is one of the ways your power becomes visible in the world, not as a badge, as a resource, as support, as capacity, as options, as breathing room. Now, remember that open loop about why prosperity can increase after self-worth healing. Here it is. When self-worth rises, the nervous system stops rejecting good. It stops flinching away from opportunity. It stops needing to prove through overwork. It stops leaking energy through guilt and resentment. It stops saying yes when it means no. It stops over-delivering to earn safety. It stops self-punishing when things go well. Self-worth changes your choices. Self-worth changes your standards. Self-worth changes what you tolerate, and those changes create real-world outcomes that look like prosperity. Not because you forced the universe, because you stopped abandoning yourself. Notice what your body does as you hear that. Maybe you feel relief. Maybe you feel grief. Maybe you feel a quiet anger about the time you lost. Let whatever is here be here. and keep breathing. If you've been afraid that wanting more makes you selfish, it's because your heart learned to survive by shrinking. Shrinking kept you safe. Shrinking kept you liked. Shrinking kept you out of trouble. Shrinking kept you from being blamed, judged, or rejected. But your soul is not here to stay small, so other people feel comfortable. Wanting more ease does not make you greedy. Wanting to be supported does not make you weak. Wanting to be paid fairly does not make you demanding. Wanting to have savings does not make you fearful. Wanting to enjoy your life does not make you irresponsible. It makes you honest, and honesty is holy. Now let's anchor something that can carry you when old fear arises. Choose one phrase and let it become your touchstone. Your worth is not a wage. Say it slowly in your mind, with space between the words if you like. Your worth is not a wage. And notice what happens when you apply it to a real situation. A rate you want to charge, a request you want to make, a boundary you want to hold, a purchase you want to enjoy without guilt, a rest day you want to take without proving you earned it. If the mind argues, that's okay. Minds argue when they've been trained by fear. You don't have to win an argument. You only have to return to your presence. And presence looks like this. Breathe. Feel your feet. Unclench your hands. Let your eyes soften. Remind your body, receiving is safe now. Receiving is safe now. And if that feels too big, soften it. Receiving is safer than it used to be. That is still truth. That is still movement. Now we bring this into the practical world because your spiritual life and your daily life are not separate. Here are 3 moments where your new relationship with prosperity becomes real. The first is when you set a boundary, even a small one. You stop replying instantly. You stop over-explaining. You stop discounting yourself to make others comfortable. You let your no be a complete sentence. You let your yes be clean. The second is when you allow a desire without shame. You let yourself want what you want. You don't punish yourself for having preferences. You stop calling your needs too much. You stop acting like wanting support is a moral failure. The third is when you receive without rushing. You let good news land. You let money sit in your account without immediately finding a reason it has to disappear. You let help be help. You let love be love. Have you noticed how often you rush past the good? How quickly you move on as if enjoyment is dangerous? That's a place to practice. 10 seconds of savoring is a rewiring event. And if you're in a season where money is tight, this still applies. Because self-worth is not a luxury reserved for easier months. Self-worth is a lifeline. It keeps you from turning temporary struggle into permanent self-hatred. You can say, "This is a challenging season, and I am still worthy." You can say, "I am learning, and I am still worthy. You can say, I am building, and I am still worthy. Let those words settle into the chest like warm light, not blinding, not forced, just steady. Now imagine your relationship with prosperity like soil. If the soil has been compacted by fear, seeds can't take root, even when the rain comes. The rain isn't the problem. The soil needs gentle loosening, not with violence, with care, with time, with consistency. That loosening is what you are doing every time you choose presence over panic, every time you choose clarity over people-pleasing, every time you choose self-respect over self-sacrifice. And perhaps in the coming days, you may notice small shifts that matter more than they seem. A conversation feels easier, a boundary holds, a desire feels cleaner, a money decision feels calmer, a new opportunity doesn't trigger the same old shame. These are signs, quiet signs, real signs. You don't need to force big outcomes to prove you're changing. You only need to keep returning to yourself. So now, let's land this in a closing that feels like a homecoming. Place a hand on your heart if that feels supportive, or simply imagine warmth there. Feel the rise and fall of your breath. You've been carrying this for a long time. The worry, the proving, the hidden shame, the fear of asking, the fear of wanting, the fear of being seen. And yet here you are, still open, still willing, still listening. That is strength. Your heart already knows this. You were never meant to earn your right to exist. Prosperity is not your worth. Prosperity is one way life supports what is already worthy. So when old the oughts return, and they may, you can meet them with gentleness instead of war. You can say, thank you for trying to protect me. You can breathe. You can soften. You can return to your touchstone. Your worth is not a wage. And as you carry that truth, your relationship with money begins to change from the inside out. Money stops being a judge. Money becomes a tool. Money stops being a test. Money becomes support. Receiving stops being scary. Receiving becomes a skill. Receiving is safe now. Not because nothing will ever go wrong, but because you are with yourself, because you are building trust in your own presence, because you are learning to hold life with open hands instead of clenched fists, because you are learning that ease does not require apology. And when you forget, because being human includes forgetting, you return again, breath by breath, choice by choice, boundary by boundary, moment by moment. That is healing, that is power, that is prosperity rooted in self-worth. And it can begin right here, right now, in the gentle way you choose to stay with yourself.